My name is Adrian Nantchev, and this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So click on the subscribe button below and press the bell notification right next to it for the latest uploads. Now, the comfort zone. How do you go about expanding it? The comfort zone really is a personal journey. It's something we all take in our own way. It's not something, there's no real cut and paste routine or strategy behind it, but it's something we all have and we all experience. So, your experience will be unique from mine, but how I did it, I read a lot of books, made a lot of mistakes, I was very reflective, and I was willing to be humble and be told what I've done wrong and what I've done right. So reading a lot of books, biographies, reading other people's experiences that we know today are successful, but the things they overcame years and decades ago. Very important to learn. But also at the same time, other books, non-fiction books. People might have made mistakes and researched and planned and strategized for years and years. And then they write up a book and they talk about their experience. And therefore, read that book in an afternoon, in a day, or whatever, in a week, and you come to the same conclusion, same lessons that took them all that time. It saves you so much more time. What I call the cost of discovery. If it costs them a decade to learn this specific lesson, they then write it down in a book, and then you find that book and you read that book and you come to the same conclusion and learn the same lesson in an afternoon. What was the cost of you discovering that thing? £5, £10? Whereas for them it would have been 10 years, Cost of discovery. Expands the comfort zone. Do this, don't do that. An example of that recently is the hell yeah principle, which is unless a decision is a hell yeah or a F yeah, don't do it. De facto, it's not enthusiastic enough. Don't do it. That way I can focus my time and limit my time on what I will and will not do. If it's not a hell yeah, don't do it. Similarly, failing and successes. Failing and successes. When you do things in the world, you want to fail. You want to just learn the limits, learn what you should and should not do in a safe environment, in business, as well as elsewhere. And in fact, I was thinking about this with driving actually recently. I'm surprised that one of the first few lessons of your driving experience wasn't to fail on purpose. Like, there's these maneuvers you do, like a 2-point turn, and when you're doing these maneuvers, you're not supposed to hit the curb. So I would say in like the first or fifth lesson or something, hit the curb. Not like at 10 miles per hour, but just slowly just drive into it. That way you get a sense for how big the car is and what the curb feels like. And if you're sitting here and you think the curb is there, you think the curb is here or whatever, and you don't really get a true sensation for it unless you touch it. Alright, so you want to fail in a safe environment. Start something small that you can afford to lose, like hitting the curb on the fifth lesson, for example, just to get a feel for the car, but not doing it in the real life. In the test, for example, and in business, fail small. Start something you can afford to lose the time on, lose the energy on, lose the momentum, lose the money on, because you will make mistakes there. You will learn things that you may never be able to learn elsewhere, or lessons that you might not have been able to learn from anyone else, that only really you could learn by doing the experience. So look into that. But also be humble as well. And this is interesting. You want to be humble in life, because when you're humble, you're willing to accept where you went wrong and what I need to do and how to improve. When you're humble, you can then improve and become smarter and adapt and change. Because if you're stubborn, you think you know it all, and you won't listen to anyone else, and that stubbornness will lead you astray. It's like going against the crowd when all the crowd is running away from a cliff, for example. So you want to be humble. When people tell you what you're doing wrong, listen to them. And one little trick that I've learned from speed reading is you don't want to interrupt someone mid-sentence, because just if they're talking, for example, then and a question pops into your head, and it's like, how do you do this? If you just waited instead, that next split second, instead of you asking the question, they might have actually answered the question automatically without you doing anything, without you saying anything. So it pays to be humble. And if you're not humble, You make a lot more mistakes that way. Again, going against the crowd, when the entire crowd is running away from a cliff and you're running straight to the cliff, they all say, turn around, turn around. No, I know best, I know best, I know best. You go right off the cliff. Not what you want in life. No thanks. So you need to be humble in life, to learn from other people's mistakes, learn from your mistake, learn from other people's mistakes, and learn from what other people are doing and saying. Because if you're not learning from them, if you're not learning, then you're going to make the exact same mistake they just made. The difference is they warned you, and then they could say that thing, I told you so. I told you so. Which is interesting little phenomena, to say the least. So be humble in life. When you make mistakes, realize, admit your mistake. I make it a habit to always admit my flaws and mistakes to people, because it says it's me kind of saying, here's what I'm doing, here's what I believe in, but at the same time, here's where I'm wrong. Here's what I did wrong. Because if you can identify where you went wrong, then you can start to go in the right direction, saying, this is my strategy, but it doesn't work very well because of this. Or here's the flaws, here's the shortcoming, here's the weakness. But what I'm doing about the weakness is that I'm doing this or doing that. Therefore, I'm strengthening the cause overall by doing this over here to cover a weakness. So anyone can talk about strengths. I'm really strong. Oh, I can bench press and all this kind of stuff. I can lift 200 pounds with my finger and all that kind of stuff. That's cool. But what can you not do? And this kind of goes in the comfort zone as well, which is what's your limit? If your strength is doing this or doing that, that's really good. It's good to know your strengths, but it's equally important to know your weaknesses. And it's equally important to know what to do and what not to do. Because knowing what not to do is like a plant. It's like self-correcting all the time, and the fewer mistakes that plant makes, like going over here or going over there where there's too much sun or not enough sun over here or whatever, the more efficient it can grow. So the more mistakes you learn from people, the better, the more efficient and refined you can be in a much shorter space of time. Because some people will take 80 years. I'll rephrase that. I know some things today that it might take people 80 years to learn. And I watched some of these videos about 100-year-olds showing life lessons, and it's like, hang on a minute, what they're talking about is a bit of BS, because it's like, I know something better, I know something smarter. And it's like, no, that's a bit of BS, that is, or useful advice, but it's like here when it's like, I know something better. So it's like, yeah, you know, what's called the shortening the learning curve. If it takes you 10 years to get from here to here, then why not make that distance in 1 year instead, or 6 months? You know, why would it take you 10 years to get from there to there? No, do it in a year, please. And therefore, you got 9 more years to get even higher. You know, here to here in 1 year, then you got 9 years to get here. You know, and again, it's cost of discovery. You learn more things in a much shorter space of time. Therefore, you make fewer mistakes because you observed someone else making the mistake on your behalf. People talk about learn from your mistakes. This is important, yeah, but nothing to say you can't learn from other people's mistakes. And therefore, that's why I read books. I go out in the world and actually do something with my time and energy, and mentors as well, and biographies. Learn from their mistakes. So my question of the day for you is, are you expanding your comfort zone? Are you expanding it? And why are you expanding it? Are you expanding it, and why are you expanding it? What's your thoughts? What do you feel? What's your strategy? You know, why and how? The world, you know, your life, your future. Why and how? So remember that. Why and how are you expanding your comfort zone? And remember that this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So click on the subscribe button below and press the bell notification right next to it for the latest uploads. How cool is that?